It's time for Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz, the show that helps you be prepared to care for your family regardless of the circumstances that may come your way. Now, here's your host for today, Mark Lamb.
Well, once again with Glenn Boblitz in the studio. And Glenn, a little bit has happened in our state since we last met. Actually,
you want to go there right off the bat?
Well, I just want to talk about how our state is gone from purple to blue again, and how unfortunate it is. In my mind, I'm not speaking for you, but how unfortunate it is that the top lawmaker now in our state actually fantasized about killing the former Speaker of the House and his children. That's where we're at, though.
I think people kind of went to sleep. They didn't have nothing to rile them up, and they're working their butts off. They're more worried about, can I afford to buy anything at the store?
This is true.
A million things. I'm not making excuses of why we lost anything, but it's just a combination of things. But the biggest thing, money.
Money.
Yeah. Anytime that you can spend hundreds of millions of dollars and your side can't, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Then you have the media who promotes one side, not the other.
Right.
There's your problem.
Yeah.
It's very little to do with the numbers. It's just the brainwashing and the propaganda, and that's how it happens.
So if you haven't tuned out already, because I took it to a political turn there, what are we talking about today?
Going to expand a little more on just getting your preps together.
Okay.
And you got winter coming, you got a cold snap coming. All those kind of things are all kind of tied together, and they always have been.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about just having lighters and matches and all that kind of stuff.
If you missed last week, you actually came from a Bosnian. Am I right on that? The Bosnian,
right?
What they needed because they were in war
during the Bosnian War. This guy went around and asked the people that actually went through it, just a common person out there, what did you not have prep for?
Right.
What was a mistake?
Yeah. What do you think you wish you had?
Yeah, and they come up with this whole list of things, and we kind of went through that, but they really hit home to us, especially in the wintertime when crap seems to happen. We lose power, ice storms, you name it.
Right.
That kind of stuff is just smart to be prepared for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to mention everything else has a possibility of happening. We're living in some perilous times that crap could happen. The one thing I seen kind of scary was that hypersonic missile that China just made. You see that?
No, I was thinking
fastest missile in the world.
Okay.
And it's a HEMP, high altitude EMP.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If they're going to take us out, that's how they would do it, is get rid of our grid. Now, it's a possibility that you could low-tech that and take out our grid, too. I mean, it's been over 10 years ago where the utility commissions all got together and say, okay, how vulnerable are we? And they went, we've been screaming this for 10 years. Now you're asking this question?
Right.
If they were to hit 5 substations, 5 major substations, in a certain order, we would go down and never come back.
Wow.
And somebody in Washington says, what can we do to help? Well, they got rid of all the wooden poles for the transmission stuff. The big 350 kVA lines were still on wood poles.
Right.
So that means a guy with a chainsaw could go through and take out.
Absolutely.
And they go, well, that's a problem. So that I think this area had $80 million to do an upgrade, and they did. Right across the back of my property, they come through and said, hey, we're going to be, tearing all this stuff out. We need to get into your property. And, you don't want to say no because I like electricity too. So,
right.
Okay, you're going to mess my field up for a little while, but, they were good and fixed it all back. But, you know, those are the kind of things that were vulnerable and are still vulnerable because you can't get to it all at one time. There's just no way. But having your power out, you know, I know you've seen these podcasts where a guy goes, power just went out. What are you going to do? Well, that's a darn good question. You know, that affects a lot of things. Normally, it puts a family into panic mode. Why are you in panic mode? You should say, okay, time to enact my plan. First thing you grab is your flashlights. And then you start getting extension cords out to hook to your generator, or you reach over and hit the emergency button on your generator starts. If you got one of them big Generacs, that's nice.
Right.
So what's your plan here, folks? Do you have a plan, and have you rehearsed it? Have you just have a checklist? You know, just a simple checklist of what to do, where things are, and have it ready. Most guys would have to root through their shop or their garage to find enough extension cords to do that. That's a mistake. How about you just take a little piece of rope, tie up your extension cords, and hang them right there by the door where you know where they're at. When's the last time you heard your generator run? I mean, hear it run, and can your wife start it? You know?
Yeah.
Some of them big generators, I mean, it take a man to pull some of them.
Sure.
You know, big 7,600 watt generator. A woman's going to have a hard time pulling that unless she's a good old farm girl and she has no problem at all. But how many of you got that?
Right.
Probably not. If you don't have that generator and you think that your wife may have to be the one to start that generator, you might want to look at an electric start. Make sure your battery's in good condition too. So my suggestion is we got a little storm coming, cold front, possible snow.
Right.
So go try to start your generator this afternoon. And you're going to be shocked at how many of them don't start. Old gas, all that kind of stuff. Have you done your maintenance on that thing? Do you know it's running? Probably not.
Yeah.
Do you know what to do if it won't run? So you may want to pull up a podcast that says what to do if my generator doesn't start. You know, the simple stuff.
Sure.
First thing you got to know is your wife can turn the gas valve on, because she'll call you at work and go, the generator won't start, the power is out. What do I do? Turn the gas on, honey. A little switch right there beside it. Turn the little valve. Make sure that's on. Make sure that the on-off switch is in the on position. Now, that sounds silly, but you're in the dark. So if you're in the dark, those are not silly things. So everybody needs to know how that generator operates. If you don't have a generator, you might want to think about getting even a small one, because I'm here to tell you, being in the dark is a trying thing for a family. Kids will go nuts at the least little thing, you know, a drop of a hat. But in the dark, no TV, no phone, no internet.
Right.
Oh, Lord, what are you going to do with your teenagers? You're probably going to have to tie them down because they'll probably go crazy on you. But you know, if they can be shown, this is how we start the generator, and this is a little safety briefing to that. Don't stick your finger in there when you're plugging it in. Keep your finger back. I'm just saying, folks, you gotta have this plan when the lights go out. Now, if it's storm related, you can pretty much count on about 2 to 3 days. If it's a pretty good storm in our area, for, you know, our great guys on the utility, get out there in the worst weather possible, and they're out there working. Give them a break. Would you want to be up on that pole during an ice storm, sleeting, you name it? They're still out there in it. I've done it. I know it. To put it plainly, it sucks.
Yeah, right.
So give them guys a break. Give them a chance to get started. There's a lot of things you can get online and look up and see how many people's out in what areas. You know, they did that so they can relieve some of the stress off their call center. You know, if you can look it up yourself, you go, okay, I see, you know, they're expecting 2 days, 3 days. Well, that's 3 days without electricity, you know.
Right.
Your plan better be pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
And it depending on how big the storm was, you know, it might be just localized here, or it might be the whole East Coast. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So get your plan together, get that generator, make sure it starts, all that kind of stuff. Your house, how are you going to keep your house warm without electricity? Most people run heat pumps. And if you don't, you have a secondary backup of, say, propane.
Right.
Is your propane tank full? You might want to call them up and say, hey, you know, I checked my tank and the tank is pretty low. Go ahead and fill me up.
Right.
Have a pretty good check ready for them, but yeah.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Can we address one thing about
Sure.
sending power back down the line inadvertently?
All right, yeah. With generators, you got a guy out on the power line fixing your power line, and you didn't hook the generator up just to an extension cord. You go, I'm going to run that into my panel box
Right.
and power my whole house. Well, what you just did was send power through your panel, through the meter, out to that power line that's above your house, down the line, and just killed a lineman.
Right.
All right, there's certain ways that you can get this done. One's called a transfer switch that you can tie all that in. You better have a certified electrician do it, or
Right.
somebody that really knows what's
What they're
going on.
doing,
You know, you probably don't want Billy Bob out there hooking your stuff up.
Sure.
There's ways to do it. Find an electrician. Find somebody that knows the safety aspects of hooking that thing up. Now, you can still do it yourself if you have those skills and ability, but my suggestion is you find somebody to do it, even if you have to pay them.
Right.
So, guy comes in, he sets up a transfer switch or shows you how to do it properly, and a little NEMA 3 cords if it's hooked up outside, all
Okay.
that kind of stuff, you know. Say something about the generator. Don't run the generator inside. That thing puts out CO2, carbon monoxide, and it will go through your whole house. You may have it in your basement,
Right.
but it'll still go through your whole house and still poison you.
And we've talked about this before, and unfortunately, we hear the stories every
and over.
single year.
Yes.
2 or 3 families are gone.
Same way with like propane heaters, kerosene heaters,
Right.
you know, temporary heaters, you know, anything that burns up a fuel, a petroleum product, is going to put out those fumes and
Right.
put out carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, regardless of what you think. Just because you can't smell it, it's nice and clean burning.
Right.
It's still doing that, and it's replacing the oxygen that you need to breathe.
That's why they put that funky, whatever they do in the natural gas,
Yes.
like an egg smell almost.
Yeah, they have, well, that's for a leak. If you have propane or natural gas, either one, they put that smell in there because natural gas doesn't have that smell without it.
Right.
To know if you have a leak.
Yes.
And if you smell gas like that, you need to get out of the house, open up every door,
Yep.
and call the fire department, because all it would take is you turning on a light switch. Inside the light switch are 2 little contacts that create an arc, gas
Yeah.
and an arc. That's a bad combination. So
Right.
I'm just saying, your maintenance is serious. Do it properly. If you're going to run these generators, do it properly. Don't hook up these little cheap extension cords that don't have the ground plug. It must have a ground plug.
Okay.
Some generators require you to ground the generator itself because it's not grounded internally.
Okay.
So in case something were to happen, short out, the electricity goes to the ground wire, goes outside into the ground, no problem. No one gets hurt.
Right.
The flip side of that is it's an ungrounded system. The device that you're running, like your refrigerator, has a short, and you touch the refrigerator, now you become the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And 120 will kill you, folks. You know,
Yeah.
just a little outlet. Oh, it's not that bad. Wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take but 6 milliamps to stop your heart.
Wow.
That's way more than 6 milliamps. In
Sure.
fact, it's 15 full amps. So it'll stop your heart if you're
Sure.
not careful. So don't think that safety is not an issue when it comes to generators.
Mm-hmm.
Know what you're doing, and if you don't know, find out. Call someone that does know and ask a question. But my gosh, while the internet's up,
Mm-hmm.
there's a million things out there that you can look at to make your generator safe.
Right. Gotcha.
so-
that makes sense.
That's one, the generator. This afternoon, I want to hear it start. No excuses. You got a storm coming
Mm-hmm.
and a storm coming
Right.
and a storm coming after that.
Mm-hmm.
So does your generator run? I want to know. So after you get your generator squared away, fire extinguishers.
Okay.
Most people have never even picked their fire extinguisher up. It's been hanging on the wall for 10 years.
Right.
And certain types of fire extinguishers, that's okay. CO2, halon, that kind of thing. The dry chemical ones, the ones that say A, B, C, and the A and the B and the C all mean something.
Mm-hmm.
One is for paper, one is for fuel, and another one is for electrical fires.
Okay.
So if you have a extinguisher that's rated A, B, C, you're pretty much covered. The only problem with that, the dry chemical will actually corrode inside the extinguisher.
Okay.
And if you go to spray, it's clogged up. It's rusted. It's corroded inside, and it doesn't work. So if you
Sounds
have
like my prostate.
yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Stick to the topic here, Mark.
I'm sorry.
Funny, but stick to the topic.
Yes, sir.
So we've got this extinguisher. It's been up there for 10 years. You've never used it.
Mm-hmm.
The day you go to use it, it's not going to work. Possibly.
Right.
Is that worth the risk? No. Go buy another fire extinguisher.
Right.
I like the Halon fire extinguisher.
That brand name?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Halon is the inert gas that's inside of it.
okay. It's a type of. Okay.
Yes. So the Halon is an inert gas, and they do have other ones that are inert gas,
Okay.
meaning it does not burn, and it displaces oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that sounds bad. Well, not really, because you can just open the doors and, it's gone.
Right.
But it will put out your electric fire. It does cool down the fuel source.
Okay.
There's a lot of good reasons for it. The dry chemical is a little different. It's actually powdered metal. Did you know that?
I did not know
That
that.
white powder that comes out is actually pulverized metal particles.
Interesting.
In a nano form, like talcum powder.
Okay.
And how it works, it coats whatever's on fire, your
Okay.
desk, your stove, your whatever.
Right.
It coats it in metal. Well, metal's not going to burn, so that's how that works.
Okay.
But the problem is now it's in the air, and it gets into your electronics, because what goes up must come down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So this stuff settles into your electronics, and all of a sudden, your internet doesn't work, or your little calculator on your desk is making all kinds of little numbers that you don't recognize. Your phone's not working. They go, what the world just happened? Well, that stuff is a fine powder of metal on electronics. Bad deal. But it's still better than your house burning down.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so then you have CO2 extinguishers. Well, CO2 in a liquid form, they can put a lot of it inside that small extinguisher.
Okay.
But when it comes out, it's below freezing. So if you
Interesting.
sprayed it on your hand, you would freeze your hand.
Wow.
Now,
Holy cow.
I'm not saying I've ever done this, but you can take a CO2 extinguisher, put a six-pack of warm beer in a cardboard box,
I'm sorry. This sounds like an experiment you use when you're out
Well,
hunting at
I mean,
the log cabin, in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, that'll work too.
Okay.
But it's so cold that you can get that beer cold really fast.
Wow.
Or wine if you like.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and but if it's that cold, your fingers will freeze too. So
Wow. Holy
it's
cow.
it's not a real good thing for children to be using CO2 fire extinguishers.
Okay, got it.
The Halon is the only one you can spray right on your hand. It comes out about 40 degrees. It feels cool, but it's not going to cause any damage. The dry chemical type, they're under extreme pressure, and that's how they can shoot 30 feet. Now, it's shooting metal particles at 100 miles an hour.
Holy cow.
You don't want to put your fingers out in front of it.
Sure.
You don't want to spray somebody with a dry chemical because it's going to embed that stuff into their skin.
Right.
So there's some precautionary things that you have to know
Right.
when using these things. You don't want to spray people with dry chemical. You don't want to spray them with a CO2 extinguisher. So
Right.
you're only left with these inert gas type like Halon. And children could use them.
Okay.
Does that mean you should let a 9-year-old use it? Yes. With a little practice and training. You could do it outside, show them how to put out a fire. And kids are not stupid. The only thing that's stupid is the adults for not showing these kids how to do things safely.
Right.
We're not.
They can
gonna do
figure
that.
out complicated games.
Oh yeah. Well,
that you and I
they
go
can,
like, what?
Well, back in the day, they go call your grandchild to have them reset your VCR.
Right.
You know? VCR. Boy, that's going
VCR,
back there.
that is,
right?
yeah, that's going
well,
back.
it's the same way with today. These kids are tech savvy and
Right.
have learned all
Sure.
this stuff. They're like little sponges.
They are.
Just because they're young does not mean they're stupid. They learn to do a lot of stuff without you.
Right.
So they can do stuff with you. So teach them those things.
Right.
There's a lot of things you should be teaching your children. I started hunting when I was 9 years old. Started out, with a BB gun, taking out the chipmunks, But regardless of that, you should probably show your kids how to react to a fire.
Right.
If you're and kids mature at a different rate, that's for sure.
Right.
If your kid is somebody that panics, that's even worse. So if he knows what to do in the event of a fire,
Yeah.
or God forbid, gets some fire on his clothing, a candle, anything with open flames is subject to be an accident.
Yeah.
We've talked about having kerosene lanterns, having candles, open candles. I mean, I was probably not a house around that hadn't had a candle burning at one time. Happy birthday, But crap happens.
Yeah, it does.
Open flames, and your kid is going to be around it. So
Yep.
you need to teach them to stop, drop, and roll, all those things. But how many people do that anymore? I don't know where that went, but that was a big deal.
Sure.
If you've ever seen a burn victim, you don't want your kids to be one. I can tell you that. So we're getting off on fire here, and which is extremely important. But it's all safety kind of stuff, you know. So I want a fire extinguisher done today. Check and see if it's still holding a charge. Most fire extinguishers will have a little gauge.
Those gauges are pretty accurate,
And
too,
they're
right?
pretty accurate,
Yeah.
with the exception of a 10-year-old dry chemical. Like
Understood.
I said, it could show pressure, but it could be corroded up.
Right.
My suggestion would be to replace it for a dry chemical. CO2, real dependable, tends not to corrode up at all. Halon, same way.
Okay.
So let's get a little more safety minded, since we're going to be using this stuff.
Right.
If this storm hits like it's
Right.
supposed to, and it's going to, whether it's this one or the next one. Your generator, I want to see the generator started. If you don't have one, put it in your budget. It's pretty critical. Back to that generator and your wife. They make these little small Honda generators that start up very easily.
Quiet too.
They have them now. It's called Easy Start. Little technology and a little pull string, but all that kind of stuff, or push button battery operated key start, however you want to do it. Get those two items, so at least you'll have a generator running, so you're not in the dark.
Right.
An emergency in case you have a fire. They're all pretty critical. After that, you're starting to feel a little safer. Water. I don't think I'm going to do a podcast without mentioning water. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that you can do without. Water is not one of them. 3 days and you're done. That's a pretty good thing, you know. What would be the number one? Air, of course. So water's falling number two to me.
Okay.
As long as I got air, I got a chance at it. As long as I have water, I got a 3-day chance at it. Food, looking down at my waistline, I could probably last a month or two, but that's a different story. But I'm just saying, there are critical items you must have.
Right.
Staying warm is another one.
Right.
Your house, if you lose power and it's 20 degrees outside, in about 3 days, it's going to be real cool inside your house, approaching that freezing mark. Now, most people don't realize how people freeze to death. You go to sleep. It's a peaceful way to die.
Right.
But you're going to worry like crazy while it's happening. You're going to shiver for a while, and then your body's going to wear out, and you're going to get sleepy. Because shivering, you ever shivered for a really long time? Finally get warm, and what happened? You got sleepy.
Right. Because you've used energy.
You've used a huge amount of energy. Hypothermia, it's a bad deal. You'll just go to sleep and not wake up, and your body just continues to cool down.
Right.
And that's how that works. So having that happen would be just tragic.
Right.
For the lack of a little bit of heat. So think about a secondary source for heat.
Right.
And that secondary source may be an open flame type, a little kerosene heater or propane heater. There's safety concerns with all of those.
Sure.
So I would suggest you think about that. All right. Back to the water. We need that water and a source of water. I don't care if you put it in gallon jugs, thermos coolers. You're going to need a gallon a day, every person. Do the math. Like I said, a normal storm outage usually lasts a couple hours, depending on how close you are to wherever it went down. Larger storms, more time. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. A week is not unheard of. When I first moved to the Lynchburg area, that winter had a storm, was out for 10 days. Because there were so much outages, so many critical lines that needed to be fixed first, like hospitals.
Right.
People don't understand that the utility company has a priority list. Police department, hospitals, fire and emergency, all those must have power to operate.
Right.
So they try to get those circuits up first. If you live out in a cul-de-sac, you may be one of the last. Or, and if you're right next to the hospital, you may end up being first because they're going to fix the hospital, which fixes yours.
Sure.
So just be a little patient there. But if you're going to lose that power and you need that water source, where are you going to get it from? That would be a lot of water. A family of 4,
right.
That's 4 gallons a day, times X number of days. A 10-day outage, you better have 40 gallons at least. Now, if you're cooking or something, have a way to cook, a little gas stove, propane stove, camp stove, whatever you got, you're going to need water to do that also. Well, you can see that the water volume is going to go up and how much I have to have stored. So I suggest you store up some water. And I don't care if you're buying bottled waters or, a case of bottled water, X number of dollars at the store. If that's the only way you have to store it, then by gosh, that's what you do.
Right.
If you got a major storm coming, it just seems smart to just fill up something.
Yeah.
Fill up whatever you've got, whatever type of jug you got, to fill it up and get it stored. And if the storm blows through in a day or so and no problems, water your garden, water your flowers outside, or just dump it down the toilet, give it a good flush. Who cares?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
at least you had it.
Yeah.
And it should be just a normal operation. As soon as you know a storm's coming, is to get the water. That's pretty darn critical. Every time a storm comes, start your generator.
Yeah.
Exercise your generator. And that's these larger generators like Generac, whole house generators. They actually have an exercise cycle on them.
Yeah, like a schedule?
Yeah, it just...
The radio station I used to work at, you would hear a faint, but it would turn on, I think, once a week and run for 10 minutes or whatever it was.
Right. That's just to make sure that everything is still operable in that, in that generator. So why wouldn't you do that for just a pull start generator?
Sure.
Pull it out the driveway, crank it up and go, okay, it's good to go. Clean the carburetor if you know how. Refresh the gas. If that gas has been in there since last year, you might want to dump it out before you try to start it.
Yeah.
Gas does not store well.
No.
It's got ethanol in
stabilizer,
it. There's all kinds of stuff. You can add stabilizers. That tends to people over-stabilize.
Oh, do they? Okay. Well, that's another problem.
And it'll smoke like crazy and all that kind of stuff. But if you know how to do that stuff and want to research how much it takes for a gallon gas can or a gallon gas container on your generator, you got to do a little math. Okay, I get that. But I usually just drain mine.
Okay.
I keep it dry. But I do spray a little WD-40 down in it, empty container. Now, why would you do that? Because rust will form. The moisture in the air gets inside the tank and just kind of hangs in there. Well, that WD-40 displaces moisture, and that keeps rust from forming in your tank, getting in the carburetor, stopping the whole process. So you want to do that.
Can I ask you about Seafoam?
Right.
Is it a good product?
Depends on if you're going to put it in a high performance motor.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend that in modern day cars anymore.
Oh, right.
It just doesn't do as well as it did in the old Chevrolet. Or,
right.
Your old Ford truck would probably burn diesel if you forced it to. They were just that dependable.
No, I get it.
But too much electronics, too much sensitivities.
Well, sensors, exactly.
Yeah, I think there's like 100 and some sensors on the new cars that have just with the running of the vehicle. That's way too much.
I went from, I had a 2004 Chevy Avalanche. Would run, because I'm cheap, I'd run the lowest, gas I could get in it. One time I thought, I'll run some of this high stuff through there with detergents and all that just to clean the injectors. Boom. Sensor went off, within 10 minutes.
Wow.
It recognized the difference in the fuel.
Yeah, it's been running. That's the thing about the computer and the electronics.
Right.
It knows what it wants to run on. It kind of learns that to adjust to whatever you're burning. And then when you changed it, it didn't have time to recalculate. Kind of like your MapQuest. Recalculating.
Right, exactly.
All these sensors are so sensitive that anything will screw them up.
Yeah.
And you can't just open it up, clean it, take a wire brush to it. Nope, you just ruined that.
Right.
They have a mass airflow sensor, super sensitive.
Right.
If you just spray some carb cleaner in on one of those, you just shorted out your computer because they're all hooked together. If you go online and read about it, you'll see that's a no-no. So know what you're doing before you do it. That's a good. That's good for a lot of things.
I mean, it's almost like baking a cake. Well, it calls for a teaspoon of vanilla. Why not a tablespoon?
Right.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I like vanilla. All right. Having warm clothing, just, everybody's probably got more clothes than you can shake a stick at.
Sure.
But not everybody does.
You're right.
I mean, I went through hand-me-downs, with a large family. So you might want to look towards your neighbors. If you know that these kids do not have that, and you've got 10, in a crisis I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you're down for 2-3 weeks, no power, there's going to be a lot of cold people. You make sure your neighbors are okay too, and especially the kids, because it ain't their fault. So kind of look out for your neighbors. If you know how to fix a generator and you see your neighbor out there pulling and pulling and pulling, you go, you need to pull that float ball off there and clean that old gas out, blah, blah, blah. So those kind of skills you probably should pass along also.
Here's the thing, Glenn. We've been doing this now for a couple of years. And if you think people that are prepping are hoarders, I think you've got a wrong concept of what preppers are. They're preparing for themselves and other people.
They're probably the
because other people aren't
generous
prepping.
people you'll ever find.
Yeah,
because they understand that you have to have just certain things.
Right.
And you find yourself asking questions. You may go be at somebody's birthday party or cookout, and you go, how are you going to get water? I can't tell you how many times I've said that, or having the power go out and have a generator go down, and somebody will put out on one of our little chats or stuff. Does anybody have a generator? Well, of course they have a generator, but they're using it.
Right.
Can anybody fix my generator? We had a major ice storm here in Lynchburg, and power went down everywhere. And I had 5 generators at my shop within hours of that going down. And I'm like, dang. I said, you know what I need to do? I need to hold a small engines class here, and to do those things. So it's far smarter to do the maintenance on them than it is to bring it to Glenn's shop, because he may be busy. He may have 4 generators in front of you, And I told these people, I was like, well, I may not be able to get to this thing because I may have to tear it all the way down to fix it. But most of them, it was just old gas and a little bit of garbage in the float bowl, those kind of things. Floats get stuck. But just having someone in your little inner circle that can do those things should be teaching the others that don't know how to do it. We talk a lot about, sharing what you know. And there's nothing worse than holding a class and one person show up, 2 people show up, and you go, what is wrong with these people? And it's happened to me. And I've also had classes where 35 people showed up. So it's hard to put your finger on why they didn't show up. And you find out, well, it was the wine festival this week. That's why no one showed up. I'm just saying. There's a lot of things online. Try to absorb as much knowledge as you can from this point forward. I was talking to my wife about a Stop the Bleed class. That's pretty important. Everybody has the idea of using a tourniquet to stop a major cut or something, but 99% of people do not know how to use that tourniquet properly to actually stop the bleeding. It is much more technical than what you think.
Right.
So going online and learning it is a good thing, but actually doing it and practicing it with a group where you know that you have done it properly. Because you cut a major artery, 3 minutes and you're done.
Right.
Well, what if that is your wife or your children?
Sure.
And you did not have that knowledge, you'd probably feel pretty darn bad.
Right.
If you don't have a way to get to the hospital, or there's just too much snow, and any of the possibilities where you had to take care of it right then and there. Smaller cuts where it's bleeding bad, but you're not going to bleed out in 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They make a powder. It's called stop the bleed, and I forget what the names of the brands are, but that works really good too. They have bandages that are pre-impregnated with this stuff, and you can slap it on, and that will cause clotting to stuff. But these classes are out there, and most of them are free. Why have you not taken one?
Right.
Why have you not attended one? The Red Cross sponsors a whole lot of them. To resuscitate someone.
Mm-hmm.
All those kind of classes that the Red Cross has put on for years and years and years. And have you ever taken one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, probably not. And that's a shame, because, you've got people all around you that are subject to choke or to have an injury or be in a car accident.
Right.
There's a lot of reasons that you should have at least that much of a skill. For your own family, for your neighbors, for your community.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing will make people prouder of you as if you save someone's life.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There's just something that's a badge of honor that you'll wear your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I think God would reward that.
Yeah.
And if you can take that away from today's program, that'd be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you could just get to one of these classes, one of these life-saving classes, to learn that. Learn it for yourself, learn it for your family, learn it for your community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm pumping it up for the Red Cross. God bless them. They've been doing a good job for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
There's people in your community that are putting these things out. A lot of churches are putting them together and getting these classes going.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of churches, there is a huge groundswell of security stuff going on with churches. Did you know that? Yeah, I'm sure.
I can believe it based on
over the
couple of months.
past 2 weeks. I've heard it mentioned half a dozen times locally from people, not just on news, or that are actually actively doing security for their churches.
Mm-hmm.
That is a pitiful thing to have to learn about your community.
Yeah.
Not that they're not being prepared; it's the fact that they have to be prepared.
Right.
We're not in safe times, so
we're not.
It's understandable.
I had to inform my wife, show her an article and some pictures, that the FBI and Justice Department just debunked a rampage during Halloween that could have happened between Michigan and New Jersey. I don't know if you heard.
No, I didn't catch this.
Oh, they busted up a possible massacre on Halloween.
Good gosh.
ISIS in our own country. They have been monitoring them.
How'd they get in here?
Yeah, right. Well, they came in during the 4 years of Joe Biden with, and I think we probably flew some of them in, because people, you believe it when you see it in the TV show or a movie that somebody can make fake IDs. Now, can you tell the difference, in all honesty, in some cases? And I'm going to use the term brown because that's what the media likes to use.
Right.
A brown-skinned person, whether they're from Iraq or even Mexico.
Right.
Or Puerto Rico, or name the country.
Well, come look at me during the summer. You wouldn't know I wasn't,
and that's
from
not a racist,
South America.
I'm just telling you. And the article, I should have pulled it up, Glenn. The article said, we're not done. We're not done.
Yeah, you don't want to put this black cloud over everyone, but if the black cloud's there, you should at least call it out.
Right.
And that's what we're doing here.
In other words, just don't be surprised if. Thank God for the Justice Department and the FBI working on this one and getting it right, because we don't even know how many times they get it right. This one made the news. There's
Right.
probably a lot that don't.
Yeah, there's some evil people out here.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse all the time because there's no penalty phase, and they know that.
Right.
We're so open and an easy target. They look at us as just absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in other countries.
They use their own freedoms against us.
Yeah. Same way with the Islamists are coming into these churches and making a big scene and laying down on the altar and praying to Allah. Mm-hmm. Now that upsets people.
Sure.
And it may upset them to the point of somebody getting punched in the mouth.
Right.
That's when they film it. Mm-hmm. So what they put out as a propaganda is this Christian church beat up these poor Muslims. Mm-hmm. Well, the Muslims come in and ticked off everybody in the room and got their butt kicked.
Right.
They're not going to show it that way, though. Mm-hmm. So how do you stop that? You stop them at the front door.
Right.
You know, you don't. It's a sticky wicket. That's a fact.
It really is, because we have freedom of religion, and
now,
if you want to go worship in your mosque, I'm not going to come in and disrupt it.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's.
They want the propaganda, but what if it's worse? You know, I'd much rather err on the side of judgment and say this group has the potential to come in and shoot everybody in here, mm-hmm. coming in with their garb that they do, the religious garb, which could cover anything under it.
Oh yeah,
and just pull out an AK-47 and spray it. You go, oh, that's unheard of. No, it's not.
Right.
In fact, it's becoming common. And now they've broke up this ISIS plot. Mm-hmm. You think that's going to stop? No, this is an escalating thing, and it's happening all over the world, and it's far worse in other countries. France, Ireland. Mm-hmm. I mean, you would think these people know better, and yet here it is.
Yeah.
And it's going to hit here, you know.
Surprised it hasn't already.
Yeah, the rest of the world is experiencing it, and you think you're so foolish to think that it's not going to happen here? Well, I got news for you. It is happening here. Mm-hmm. They're just kind of a little more scared of us, and what's the reason?
And you know, one of the things that they monitored was they were doing multiple practice with AR-15s and those kinds of type guns. They've in this particular article on Fox News, they've got pictures of them, you know, holding, you know, what we would consider as a high-powered hunting kind of gun, right, or whatever.
Or a sports rifle.
Yeah.
You don't want to call it assault rifle. Everybody gets offended at it, but okay. Sure. You know, military style assault rifle. Right. No, it ain't. It's a friggin' AR, and if your enemy is carrying one, you better carry one. Right. You know,
and
guess what? Or at least have it, you know, behind the front door or something. Okay.
Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah.
Was one of the places.
These people are out there, folks. You know, well, the police department is raising that red flag too. Mm-hmm. They're going, we're going up against people with fully automatic weapons. Mm-hmm. You think that they're going to follow the rules and only carry a 5-round magazine because the law said so? No, they could care less what you say so.
Just remember the attack out in L.A., I believe it was, where those people from head to toe were covered in armor, and the policemen had to go to local pawn shops and say, what is the most high-powered rifle that you have, because we need it. Right. We've got to penetrate.
It was like 1,500 rounds fired.
I mean, it was crazy.
It was some exorbitant amount of gunfire that occurred, and they were outgunned.
And the guy, I mean, there's video of him spraying all over, just standing in the middle, not worried about getting hit.
And New York is saying, we need to do away with the police department.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Good gosh. At any rate,
I'm just saying.
You can tell how fast our security is going down the tubes. Mm-hmm.
When America-
organized security, I should say. But the average American is going, okay, if they can't defend me, I'm going to have to defend myself.
Right.
And I believe I'll go to the local gun store and buy a legal weapon and you know, what caliber do I need? You know, I don't know, hand cannon down to a 22, whatever you're comfortable with.
Right.
You shoot somebody in the toe with a 22 and it'd stop them or at least slow them down. Regardless of that, people are not stupid.
Right.
There's no one coming to save you. And if you lived in New York and they're saying they're going to do away with the police, I believe I'd get the heck out of there.
Right.
Because they can't even protect you with the police. How are they going to protect you without the police?
Right.
I can't believe that I'm watching my country do this. I can't believe we're putting up with the crap that we're putting up with.
Right.
But that's a whole nother story. But we'll
let's end it on a good note. And I didn't mean to take us down. I know when we started talking about
it's all the same thing.
security.
You're just preparing for a crisis,
right?
Whether it's a natural crisis or
a man-made one,
a man-made one, political one, whatever it is. It's just getting worse all the time.
Yeah.
Not to say that there's no hope. I'm just saying be prepared for it. All the things we talk about is just in preparation to increase your odds.
Right.
There's no guarantee here, but I'll guarantee this: if you don't, you've decreased your odds. Whether it's just having enough water, or having a fully semi-automatic rifle.
Well, I'm just
whatever it is increasing your odds.
Yes.
If you're a law-abiding citizen, there's no reason in the world that you can't have that.
I just want to mention this one house in this article. They seized semi-automatic weapons, rifles, shotguns, handguns, tactical gear, 1,600 rounds of 5.56 ammunition. I don't even know what that latter part means.
That's for like the AR style.
Okay. That's what they found in this one home.
Right.
In Dearborn, Michigan. And they were just part of a plot.
Right.
A bigger plot.
Now, how'd they get all those? Off the black market. They're not buying them at the gun store. They don't have IDs. They don't have any of that stuff. You're not walking into any local gun store around the state of Virginia that I know of and buy that stuff. That stuff is coming off the black market through some backdoor organization being shipped in to them. And, there's a worldwide support for the anarchists who are coming in and trying to destroy this country.
Right.
And you better get that through your head. And it's not that they're going to come kick your door down, but what they'll do is disrupt the whole system.
Right.
And that's what this preparation is all
Absolutely.
about.
Absolutely.
If they take out just the substation in our area, would put 200,000 people out of power. So I'm just saying, this preparation, it should be kicked up to a higher level, because they are just not nice people, and they do not give a crap about us. And it's obvious that the government can't protect us anymore. They just too big. It's too corrupt. It's too something. Fill in the blank. You're gonna have to do this yourself. Do this for your family, your community, your state, your nation. If you're just one person, it does not have to be worried about, because you're prepared.
Right.
And that's what we're doing here. So if you have any questions about being prepared, come give us a shout out, and we'll see if we can get you prepared, get you the answers to be prepared.
Yeah.
That's about all I got for today.
All right. Well, 434-248-0704 is our text line. 434-248-0704. And you can send us a note, ask Glenn a question, or go to the Facebook page.
Sustainable Living Made Easy with Glenn Boblitz.
Glenn, thank you.
Thank you.
Join us again next week for Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz, helping you be prepared and not scared. This podcast drops every Friday anywhere you get your podcast.